Let's have a look at using a CNC router to make wooden signs, mill brass, cut cardboard templates, machine polycarbonate, engrave granite, and cut builder's foam. Before getting started, be sure to check the RPM of your spindle or router. In some cases, the RPM is 0. You'll also need to check the feed rate, the travel of the spindle or router, to make sure it's right. Check your owner's manual for how to do this with your machine, and have a look at the companion article that goes with this video for specifics on feeds and speeds. First, let's look at cutting letters and a design into this walnut board. The work is being done with a 60-degree half-inch V-bit. One of the things that's interesting, you'll see in our next project, we're going to use the same design twice with slightly different tool paths to get a different look. With the lettering and artwork done, I'm now using a 1/4-inch bit in order to cut the final shape on the outside of our sign. And here's the result. Same design, but different look coming at you here. In this case, the letters will be raised from the background. So we're starting with a 1/4-inch bit, and that's eliminating a lot of the background waste here. As you're choosing the cutter for this operation, keep in mind that a large diameter bit will remove the waste more quickly, but a small diameter bit, like this 1/4-inch, is better able to get into the detailed spots artwork like this has. Now we're back to that 60-degree half-inch V-bit, and this bit is going to cut in all of the details. Look how it leaves those letters stand proud of the background, giving this sign a very hand-carved look. I have made a lot of projects with this technique, but I still find it very intriguing to watch how the CNC machine controls the bit and allows it to create these very fine details. Now we're back to that 1/4-inch cutter again in order to cut the final shape and dimensions of this sign, just like we did on the last one. When you see the spindle lift slightly, it's leaving tabs behind, bridges that connect the work to the surrounding frame to hold it in place. Same artwork, different tool path, and a different look. The brass is being milled with a single flute 1/8-inch diameter cutter, making a bow tie that I'll put into a walnut table. Non-ferrous metals require a very light depth of cut, and notice here I'm finishing up with a climb cut in order to get the best possible surface finish on the brass. Double-faced tape works great for keeping the brass secure to a wasteboard. And I can't wait to get this project done. When you're using a drag knife, like we are here, set the spindle or router to 0 RPM, 0 RPM. Let me repeat that, 0 RPM. You don't run the spindle or router for this operation. What a great way to turn your project plans into templates that you can use in your shop. It's amazing how the drag knife will pivot as it's pulled through the material in order to cut pretty complex shapes. I clamp a melamine backer board to the CNC table and then use spray adhesive on top of the melamine to keep the cardboard secure. And these parts are ready to trace onto your project pieces. The 1/4-inch polycarbonate is being cut with a 1/4-inch single flute bit. And if you watch carefully here, you'll notice that the image has been reversed and is being cut into what will be the back side of the polycarbonate. This is a pretty common approach to see-through materials. This is a good time to mention too that dust collection on these CNC machines is great when the dust shroud is on, but in order to shoot video, I've got the dust shroud removed. With double-faced tape holding the polycarbonate in place, I'm cutting completely through on this pass, no tabs, to produce the final outside shape. And what woodworker doesn't need this in their shop? Here's another case where you'll set the spindle or router RPM to 0. You don't spin it for this. This is a diamond drag. There is literally a piece of diamond in the tip of this tool. When you set depth of cut on the diamond drag, what you're doing is controlling how hard the spindle pushes down on the compression spring and the tip. Harder materials require more down pressure. It's all very well explained in the instructions that come with the tool. This work can be done on granite, glass, aluminum, brass, steel, lots of different materials. I love the look. Yep, that's a piece of standard pink building foam right off the shelf at a home center. Because it's 2 inches thick, this provides a great way to test your cuts in a relatively inexpensive material before you throw a really expensive slab of wood onto your CNC. Or you can use it for what I'm doing here and create 3D artwork. The roughing out portion of the cutting is being done with a 1/2 inch end mill. That'll get most of the waste removed. The detail work is being done with a 1/2 inch round nose bit. That works here because the artwork is pretty good size. If you're working on a smaller piece, in order to get all your details, you probably have to go to a smaller diameter cutter. The final outside shape is being cut with a 1/2 inch end mill, same bit we did the roughing pass with. Again, I'll leave tabs behind to bridge the workpiece to the frame. A little bit of latex paint and we're good to go. Like driving your car, speed limits aren't just a suggestion, they're the law. When you're running your CNC router, you've got to pay attention to feeds and speeds to get everything to come out right.
Tips, tricks, hacks, I don't care what you call them. In my shop, they make my life easier, so I'm all about it. I'm going to share 10 of my favorite shop hacks with you right now. So my back is still a mess. I found out I have a large herniation at the L5-S1. I don't know what that means, but it hurts. So I thought in order to bring some value to you guys, I would share my shop hacks with you. Now I have a ton of these, but we're gonna start with 10 of them for the day. I think that should be enough. There's not gonna be a lot of fancy editing. There's not gonna be a lot of that. Actually, I'm even gonna take my apron off because it's just too hot in my shop right now. Oh wait, I'm attached to my microphone. There we go. So, ow. Let's get to it. Shop hack number 1, really easy. Boom. Dry erase markers. Dry erase markers. I don't know if you can see those. Best things ever. I use them all the time, all around the shop, taking notes, making measurements, figuring out what I want to show you guys. And kind of my favorite part is that when you're writing on paper, you have to go find an eraser, and it takes time to do that. And it's a little bit of time, but it's a little bit of time every time there's a mistake. With this, psh, wipe your hand, done, gone, keep going. It doesn't really interrupt the flow of thought, which is awesome. Shop hack number 2 is really simple as well, but if you haven't thought of it, it's going to be a little bit like, oh my god, a depth gauge for your drill bits. Now, if you need to go part way through a piece of wood and you don't know how far you have to stop, you use a piece of tape. Really easy. Check it out. The next shop tip actually deals with gluing wood together. Most of the time when you go to glue 2 pieces of wood together and you put the glue in the center, they slide when you try to clamp them. Really easy fix for that, but we got to go to the kitchen first. Hugs. The answer is hugs. No, it's not. Just take that guy. Salt. Yes, regular, stupid, iodized table salt. Using it makes just enough friction between the 2 pieces of wood and the glue that it doesn't go anywhere.
The next shop hack was taught to me a long time ago by my father. So long ago, I can't even remember the first time I used this. And that is simply when you open a new can of paint, before you go to use it, take either a nail or an awl, or in this case I'm going to use a nail set, go around the perimeter of the can and add some holes. That way when you go to use the paint and you clean off your brush on the side of the paint can, that paint goes back into the can as opposed to rolling down the side or collecting around the rim, keeping your project nice and neat.
So now that I opened that specific can of paint, my lab, my workshop, whatever you want to call it, actually reeks right now of paint. So I'm going to do a shop hack I wasn't planning on doing.
Totally free of charge, here's your bonus tip.
And I can't take credit for this one. This one I actually got from, I think, Bob Vila from This Old House, or no, it wasn't him. One of the guys from This Old House from their awesome YouTube channel, which, again, if you don't know about, you should totally check out. Lots of awesome stuff on there. This is a ventilation hack, I guess you'd call it. Really simple to do. I don't know how it's going to come out on film because I have to film at the window with the light outside being very bright today, but we'll see.
First, measure the distance across your window frame and then find a piece of wood that matches that dimension. You're then going to hold it up, open the window, and mark exactly where that open window space is on that piece of wood. Grab 2 screw hooks and put them into the wood in that open window space that you've marked out. You're then going to take the measurements between those 2 screw hooks and transcribe that onto a box fan. Screw out those 2 holes, affix the piece of wood to the window frame. You know what? This might be a bad idea leaning over a table with a back injury. And that face told me that this video wouldn't be up on time this week. But let's continue.
Sometime later.
Then all you gotta do is hang the fan from those hooks, plug it in, and bada boom, ventilation. Often when you're hanging something on the wall, you need a free hand to hold whatever it is that you're putting up. So instead of having all the screws in your hands, you can put a magnet on your drill to hold all of those screws for you, and it works great. Now, number 6 deals with my favorite workshop duo, and that is CA glue and activator, also known as crazy glue, and the stuff that makes it stick really fast. Whenever you're using wood glue in the shop and you're putting 2 pieces of wood together, but you don't want to wait to have to clamp and let it dry, you can use CA glue and activator to temporarily hold the wood together, giving the wood glue time to dry but allowing you to get on with your project. In order to get perfect 90-degree holes into a piece of wood, most people use a drill press. But if you don't have one, there's a great shop hack that can show you how to drill directly straight into a piece of wood. The first thing you do is take a right angle straight edge or a square and draw a 90-degree line to the side of a piece of wood. Then using that line that you've drawn to calibrate one direction and the wood itself to calibrate the other direction, as long as you keep them in line with both of those, you'll get a straight hole every time. Number 8 is a really simple hack that I have used a ton. Remember that time that I was working with filters in my workshop and they exploded? Yeah, I'm still cleaning that up, and that's where I found this one. It sounds a little nuts, but just take a cup, drill a hole in the top just large enough for a straw, and insert a straw.
Then all you need to do is take it, put it on the top of your vacuum hose, turn on your vacuum, and now you can get into tight spaces real easy.
This is a penny. It's 3/4 of an inch in diameter. And this is an even smaller nail. Now, while most of us don't use nails this small, the principle of what I'm going to show you works the same way. There is no way I can drive this nail into a piece of wood while holding it in my fingers without smashing my hand. Now, if I take a pair of pliers and I hold this, I can put it into the wood without any issue at all. The last of the tips, tricks, and hacks I'd love to share with you today starts by driving 2 screws into the back of your workshop door. Then taking 2 magnets, putting them on a bottle opener, and putting that on the back of your door as well.
So what's the point of this hack? Really easy. When you're done with all this work, it's time for soda. And you'll always know where your bottle opener is to open one. Do they even make soda in glass containers? No? Well, whatever. We'll see you guys next time, Wednesday, 4 o'clock. If you love this one, click subscribe and make sure to smash that little bell icon. That'll attach you to me, and anytime I upload something new to the internet, you will be made notified immediately. Take care.